Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cloud Talks, or if this is your first time with Nico and I, welcome aboard. My name is Juliana Grava, and I'm an operations lead in the Modern Workplace department at accesa. I'm happy to be here today with my colleague Nico Calegari. He's one of our cloud consultants within the Modern Workplace department, and he's located in Germany. Hi, Nico.
Hello, Juliana. I'm happy to be back. I couldn't resist when you reached out to me with your new idea. Through these unique times we are in right now, we all face situations where we have to decide really fast.
Yeah, that's true. If only I take a look at my LinkedIn timeline, I can see so many articles telling companies what they did wrong, for example, by rolling out Microsoft 365 or Teams really fast, and for example, how they will help them to fix their mistakes. And to be honest, I'm not a fan of this finger pointing, and I know you don't like it either.
Yeah, that's true, Jana. I really don't like that. I think it was pretty amazing what companies did there. Especially in Germany, it was not common to work from home. Speaking of that, it was a pretty new world for most of the companies. And if you think about how fast they reacted and the fact that their employees can not only work remotely, but even collaborate on projects, that's pretty cool.
I absolutely agree. And surely, if you have to work like this, for example, to roll out something very quickly, you won't have time to think everything through, and mistakes will happen. So instead of finger pointing, Nico and I thought today that we could help you administer your environment. And since Nico and I are more Microsoft oriented, we decided to do a Cloud Talk series on different Microsoft 365 admin centers. So I think we can just dive in and start with the Microsoft 365 admin portal. Nico, do you want to start?
Yes, thank you. I will. The Microsoft 365 Admin Center, you may know that already because under the name Office 365 Admin Center, Microsoft changed that a couple months ago. So what you can do here is you have the possibility of the most administrative tasks you can do on the M365 world. So common tasks are to manage your user accounts and mailboxes. You can add users and assign licenses. You can delete and restore users. You can create groups, and we will talk about that later on a bit more detailed. You can configure the cloud environment with your billings and all this stuff. You see activity reports, and for sure you have the possibility to monitor the health status of all services, of all these services in M365. And before we will really dive into on the more detailed level, let's take a look on the admin center itself and how it's designed. All the Microsoft admin centers have a similar structure. You'll be able to see that in the upcoming episodes as well. And just as that you know that you can access the Microsoft 365 admin center either through the Office portal or directly if you see the URL through the URL admin.microsoft.com. So, but for now, let's start in the top left corner. There you will find the app launcher. That's the place where you find or have the possibility to access all your M365 apps, even if we don't take a detailed look at it now. I think it's very nice that you have seen it before. More interesting for us, though, is the navigation menu here. There we actually have our main admin task. Juliana and I will introduce you to the users, groups, and the health tasks or items to a bit more detail today. But don't worry, Juliana has prepared you a short summary of all the other items as well. At the very bottom of the navigation menu, you also have the possibility to access the other admin centers directly, like the SharePoint or the Teams admin center. When we go to the upper left, right corner of the monitor, you will find the Cloud Shell. So you have the possibility not only to administer through the portal, but via code as well. And it doesn't matter if you're more into Linux or more into Microsoft. You have the possibility to choose between Bash or PowerShell. And the really nice thing is you're automatically connected to your Azure account, to your M365 account. The only thing, and as you can see, is that you need an Azure account to do so. Next to the Cloud Shell, you do have the possibilities to go on settings, where you can customize your own account. You can change your language, change your password, and so on and so on. Here you do have the possibility to look on which account you're logged on to. That's maybe interesting for you if you have like different accounts to work with. So you always can check here. You do have the possibility, like actually right now it's more and more common to switch to dark mode if you like that. And next to the dark mode or the light mode, you have the possibility to go on the button to see what's new. Here you have an access or a link to a URL where you get all the news around the admin center itself, or actually about the admin centers all together. And before we really dive into the first demo, we can take a look on the dashboard. That's actually customizable. As you can see, you can switch around. Maybe there's something for you it's more important to see, so you can, if you go here, so as you can see, you can do, or you can add or remove a card. That's actually pretty easy to do. So, and as you can see, it's pretty nice way to customize your first look into the portal. And with that, we close.
Okay, so this concludes our first demo. And further on, we will look at the users and group section, as well as the health section. But before we dive into that, we just want to quickly go through the other sections or options that you have in the admin center to give you a more holistic look. For example, when you go to the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, you will see there is a roles section, which allows you to assign a lot of different admin roles tailored specifically to your needs. And with this kind of role-based access control, you can ensure that you grant your admins the least permissive role that they need in order to do their job. The resources option allows you to create and manage resources such as sites and conference rooms. And you can also see your SharePoint sites and site collections that are created for the users' collaboration and their external sharing status. Under billing, you can view your subscription status or purchase additional Microsoft cloud services, for example, or you can check and configure your billing, your payment methods, and so on. And if you need, you can also find there a list of your licenses and assign them as you need. In the support section, you can create new support requests to Microsoft if you need that, as well as check the status of existing service requests. And also one thing that's good to know is that Microsoft provides Microsoft 365 admin support. So you should use that if needed. Now, under settings, you can manage the global settings for your applications, for example, authentication or external sharing, password policies, and so on. And The setup section offers you, for example, product details for your subscriptions, and you can also assign or manage software licenses and manage your domains. And if you need to, there's also a data migration option, which allows you to migrate your email accounts and the data from your email, for example, from Gmail or Hotmail, Yahoo, and so on. And finally, under reports, well, as you'd expect, you will see there a detailed report for selected periods of times of how users inside your company use the Office 365 applications. And you can choose, for example, a 7-day period or 30 or 90, and monitor which applications are favorite among your users. And you can also compare these dynamics. So that would be all.
Okay, thank you very much, Iana. So please feel free to try this all the sections out by yourself. You really can do a lot there, but we will take a more detailed look right now into the user section and what you can do here. So as I mentioned before, you have the possibility to administer your active users. What that means is you assign and remove licenses, add new users to your AD, add multiple users. You can create templates and all this stuff. And you can, for sure, as a security aspect, you can enable or disable multi-factor authentication. But you can actually administer how your environment will react to guest users and contacts outside your organization, and what they are allowed to see or if they are allowed to invite and everything. And of course, you can delete users and or actually restore if deleted users if you need that. So there's a lot you can do, and how easy everything is, we will see in the next demo. We prepared on that, and I hope you will enjoy. So, as I explained, I want to show you how you create a user and what you can do to that user, maybe add a license or remove a license. That's all the possibilities you have. So you click on users on the navigation menu, go on active users, and here you can see all the active users already in the AD, but we want to create a new one. So we go and add a user. We give it the user name. We go with the Jane Doe. You could actually change the display name or whatsoever. You go with the domain name or email address. You can auto-generate a password or let me create one. Let's take one we are usually not able to take. Just go with password 123. Never use that, but in this case we are fine. And we have the possibilities to use to say, okay, for the first time when the user logs in, he has to choose their own password. And we could use it and send the password beforehand to a chosen email address. The next step would be to product licenses. So we do have to select a location where the Jane Doe is located. Switzerland, I think, is fine. And here you can use what kind of license the user will get. We will take, usually I would love to give her a E5, but we are not now to allow that. So we just give her a Dynamics 365 license. We go just. So then we do have the optional settings where we can choose what kind of role does the user have. So will the user will be an admin or just a user. Maybe we do have something prepared, some template for a special user role, but we just go with the user role. But as you can see, I could give her gender a really easy global reader role. And actually, then we have a summary of everything we just added. And then we would go on finish adding. And here we are. Gender has been added. And let's take a look where she is. Here's the gender with the Dynamics 365 license. And now let's take a look at her and change her license again so that you have the possibility to see how easy that is. Now she doesn't have any license at all. And your change has been saved. And let's see, the user's unlicensed, and that's how easy that is. So I hope you enjoyed the part about how you add a user, and you saw how easy that is and how you administer everything. So I think we are ready to just dive into the next topic about groups. And Juliana, will you present that to us?
Of course. Thank you, Nico. So next on, we will have a look at the groups menu. And as you could imagine, what you can do here is to create and manage groups for your organization. For example, Microsoft 365 groups, distribution groups, security groups, or shared mailboxes. And the groups part is made up of three sections: active groups, where you can create new groups and manage a list of existing groups, the membership and the settings. If you need to edit them, this is the right place. And also you can remove groups from here in case you need to do that. After you have deleted a group, for example, you will be able to find it on the deleted groups section, where you can restore it if you didn't mean to delete it. And on there's also the section of shared mailboxes, where you can see and create shared mailboxes for your users. And on this menu, you can filter the groups by type, by team status, for example, or membership type, and you can also export them as a list. So let's take a closer look on how exactly we add a new group. First, we go to groups, active groups. Then we will click on add a group. The first options that we need to choose are the group type. And we have here four types. Microsoft 365 is the first group type, which allows people to collaborate on shared resources such as SharePoint site, files, calendars, and it also allows them to exchange emails with the group email. The second type of group is the distribution group that allows us to send notifications to a group of people. The third type of group is the mail-enabled security group, which also allows us to send notifications to a group of people by email. But also this one can be used to grant access to resources such as SharePoint or OneDrive. And the fourth group type is the security group, which is used only for granting access to shared resources such as SharePoint or OneDrive. And for today's demo, we will create a Microsoft 365 group. This was also known as an Office 365 group before. Once we have chosen our group type, we will click on Next. And we need to fill in some basic information such as the name and the description. For today, we will have a legal department group. And we have filled in just a basic description so people know what our group is about. Once we've done that, we click on Next. And the next step is to choose the owners. A group owner has elevated permissions on the group. They can they can add members, or they can delete content from the group, and they can also change the group settings. And Microsoft recommends at least 2 owners for each group. So we will add here myself and Nico. Okay, now we have our 2 owners, and we can go ahead and click next. And what we have to do next is to fill in some more settings for our group, such as an email address. We will put here legal department, and our privacy. We can have either a public group or a private group. And since we are talking here about the legal department, we will choose a private group. And we also have the option to create a team for our group. And we want to take advantage of the full collaboration features of Microsoft 365. So we will say yes. We will click next, and we have a final page with the review. If we are happy with what we've chosen, we just click on create group, and that's it. We just wait for the group to be provisioned. Okay, we are all set. Next, I thought we would take a closer look at the Microsoft 365 groups in particular, because this type of group is probably the most important or the most interesting in my personal opinion. This acts like the membership service in Microsoft 365. And with Microsoft 365 groups, you can give permission to a group of people for them to access a collection of resources. And for example, they will have access to the same Outlook inbox. They will have a shared calendar, a SharePoint document library, a planner, a OneNote notebook. They can also have a Power BI workspace, or, for example, if you create a group from Yammer, they will have a Yammer community or even a team in Teams. And the very good thing about Microsoft 365 groups is that you don't have to manually assign permission to each of these resources. Adding people to the group itself automatically gives them permission to use the tools that the group provides. So this is a very seamless way to work with all of these collaboration tools. And that's the intention of Microsoft for creating these groups. And if we take a closer look at the Microsoft 365 group, we will notice it has 3 roles: owners, members, and guests. And to keep it simple, the owners are the ones who can add or remove members. They have the possibility to change the settings, to edit the group details, and also to delete the conversations in, for example, in a shared inbox. The members, they can access everything in the group, but they cannot change the settings. And the guests are like members of the group, but outside of the organization. And the guest capabilities can vary according to each site, or they can vary according to what type of resource you use. And all of these settings you can change in the admin center. In addition, you can also change which domain to use when creating a group from the admin center. You can manage the guest access, like we already said, and you can also recover the groups you deleted in usually in a span of 30 days of deletion.
In the Microsoft 365 Health section, we do have the Service Health menu, which shows us all the health status of our Microsoft services, including Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, Exchange, and so on and so on. So you can filter here by incidents or advisory. You can watch the status. You can read the history and the reported issues of your users. Juliana will show us later on a bit more detailed what we will find here. And actually, she will do that on the same thing with the message center, where you can see upcoming changes. You can take a look on planned maintenance and other important announcements. Something pretty new is the network connectivity. You will find that actually in the admin center, but it's marked as on preview. And what you can see here is that you have an assessment section that evaluates the impact of your network design on your M365 user experience on the scale of 0 to 100. So please feel free to explore this new service. On the last page on the health section, you will find the directory sync status. That shows you all the last sync details with your on-premise Active Directory. And if there's any problems, you can just switch there and take a look what happens there and look in the error lists. That's pretty nice to have. So, but as I mentioned, Juliana prepared a demo with the Service Health and Message Center. Let's take a look on that.
Okay, now let's dive into a short demo of the health section. Of course, you will start in the Microsoft 365 admin portal and navigate to health. And in our demo, we will take a look at the Service Health and Message Center. In the Service Health section, you will see a list of all of your services and their status. So normally, all of them should have a healthy status, or most of them. But if there are some problems, you might see, for example, an advisory or an incident. And what you can do is to either go by each tab, for example, incidents, and since we don't have any incident at the moment, this page is empty. You can also check the advisories tab to see incidents that are happening, advisories that are happening at the moment. But you can also just click directly here on the first page on the advisory to get a description. And if you wish to see more details, you can also click on View History, which will unfold the history of this advisory. You can also report an issue by yourself. If you are facing a problem in your environment right now, you just click on Report an Issue. You can choose the service or product that you are having problems with. You can choose the impact over your business, and you will be able to categorize it and give it a full description. And once you have finished, you just click Submit, and it will go directly to Microsoft. And on the reported issues tab, you also have a list of the issues reported by the people in your company over the last 30 days, which you can export as an Excel sheet if you need it. And that would be all for the Service Health tab. Actually, one more thing, you would be able to choose the services, to customize the services that you wish to see the status of, and also to enter your email so that you can get an email notification. This would be either your personal email, or if you have, for example, a service desk team, you can enter their email address here, and they will be notified via email about any kind of advisories or incidents. And next we have the Message Center, where you are able to see multiple types of messages. For example, just information about the new features coming up or some kind of changes that are planned. For example, this one is a type of message called Plan for Change. And some of these messages, they have you act by a certain deadline. For example, if you click on one of the messages that you have to act on by, it will tell you exactly all the details, what you have to do, and by when you have to act on this. You have either a list of all of the messages or just the high importance ones, for example, updates to services or planned changes. And you also have an archive of the messages that, for example, if you wish to save some messages, you can just archive them and you will find them here. Again, for the message center, you can also input an email address that you would like to get informed about the upcoming changes, or for example, you can choose to send emails for major updates, data privacy messages, or just weekly digests about certain services. And let's put Nico Caligari here. And now Nico will get informed about everything that is happening in the message center.
Okay, so that's what's the end of the episode 1 of our Cloud Talk series on Microsoft 365 administration. If something caught your eye and you would like to know more about it, or if you have some questions, please don't hesitate to reach to us. Juliana and I, as well as our colleagues, will be happy to help you.
Yes, that's true. We have quite a few teams of qualified consultants and engineers ready to assist you and your company. And otherwise, just stay tuned for our episode 2 of the series, in which we will talk about the SharePoint Admin Center and how you can leverage it to secure your company's data and to boost your productivity with modern collaboration.